Morning, it's Audrey, Stitchy Witch 42. It's Monday. I want to say thank you again. I have had a lot of new subscribers in the last several days. And wow, thank you for coming and visiting me. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. There have been a couple of you that said that you've binge watched me, and wow. Wow. But I have two ladies that I would especially like to say thank you to. Last Wednesday, I got up to go to work. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I leave the house at 4 to be at my store at 5. Last week they said that we had the possibility of having snow here in the Willamette Valley. We haven't had any snow here this winter. And sure enough, when I went out to my car, there was snow in my car. Like this much. Seriously, this much. But underneath it was ice. I don't like the ice. And I looked at the streets, and the streets didn't look bad, and I thought, okay, not a problem. So I scraped the snow and the ice off the car, and I heated everything up, and I headed out of town. And I got about 12 miles away from my house and the road turned white. And I know I have 2 big hills that I have to travel down to get to my work, and I thought, nope, I'm not going to do it because I know there's ice under that white and my car's not set up for that. So I pulled over and I called the store and I said, sorry, I'm not going to come in. I turned around, drove back home, got into the house, went upstairs to let Mark know I was home and to let him know why I was home. He rolled over in bed and goes, I give you permission to stitch today. He's mine, ladies. He's mine. And he gives me permission to stitch. There was laughing. There was a lot of laughing. Yeah. We've been married for 34 years, 35 years this coming June, and yeah. He gives me permission. Okay. So I went downstairs and got myself a cup of tea, got myself set up in the living room, and I turned on FlossTube. And the first video for me to watch was MauoiJenn, Dark Side Stitcher. She's been binge watching me, and she gave me a shout out. She just didn't give me a shout out, she gave me a shout out. I was blown away. I was overwhelmed and stunned, and apparently people have been watching her videos too, because like I said, all of a sudden I got another bump in subscribers. And wow, thank you so much, Jennifer. Wow. I do like her. I've watched her videos. She is very upfront and honest, and she tells you that she's going to drop an F-bomb or 47. Anyway, thank you so much. I told her that I would have a story for her in this video. I'm going to save it to the end of the video because it has absolutely nothing to do with cross stitch. And if you don't want to stay for it, you don't have to. But I promised Jen that I would tell her a story. The other lady that I have to say thank you to is McCleary, Textstylust. Saturday night, Mark asked if anybody had gotten the mail. And I said no. So he went out and he got the mail. He comes back in and he has this huge envelope for me and he hands it to me. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've ordered some stuff and I've received 2 of the 3 packages, but I know the 3rd package isn't due for a while, so what is this? And I see her name as the return address, and I'm like, oh Oh my goodness. So I open up the package. And when I pulled this out, this was the side that I saw first. I watched her video, her second video, where she's showing all the project bags that she made. Beautiful, gorgeous, wonderful. Loved the owl one. Oh my gosh. And I thought, wow. And then I turned it around and I was blown away. She made me a Marauder's Map project bag. Oh my God. I am one of the leakiest people I have ever met. I cry in commercials. Yeah. This is beautiful. Thank you so much. But it wasn't just that. She made a card. On the front of the card it says, all natural pumpkin juice, 100% pure, no added potions. Look at that. On the inside, I hope this little something cheers you up and that you'll soon be pad-footing around, getting into all sorts of stitchy mischief. And a needle minder. She made the card. Lori McCleary, Textstylust, trademark. McCleary Mercantile, trademark. Thank you. Thank you so much. I am so touched. Both of you ladies. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. Glistening. I'll try not to leak. Not guaranteeing anything, but I'll try not to leak. So, when I was home Wednesday, I went online and I placed a couple of orders, and one of the things I ordered is a stationery set. I had been watching Top Knot Stitcher, Abby, and she was talking about being pen pals. So I sent her a message and I said, hey, I can be pen pals, and we traded addresses. She loves Harry Potter, and I love Harry Potter, and she loves moons, and I love moons, and so I went and I found myself some Harry Potter stationery. And I got this. Harry Potter Letter and Wax Seal Kit. There's 6 cards and envelopes inside. There's a quill. Okay. Here's my hand. Here's the quill. This is very cute. It does actually have a little bit of ink in it, and it has a cap on it. But I don't think I can write with this because I think my hand is too big for it. But I think it's really cute. I have a quill. And then I have the wax stamp with the Hogwarts seal on it, and sealing wax. I love sealing wax. I've used it for years. I use it when I send out Christmas cards and sometimes when I just feel like being fancy. I've got a stamp upstairs that has a Celtic knot on it, and I have, a half a dozen or more different colors of sealing wax, and I think it's cool. So I have to send a letter to my new pen pal on my Harry Potter stationery. Last week I said that I wanted to get my Halloween in Quilt finished before the end of the month. And I did. When I stayed home Wednesday, I got all the cross stitching finished on it. But I didn't do the detail stitching. So I finished the cross stitching in the afternoon, and then I started a new project. And then Friday morning, I decided to sit down and do the detail stitching. I said I thought I was going to do couching, and when I actually sat down to do it, I realized, no, that's not going to work. I'm just going to do it as backstitch. So here's Halloween in Quilt. It is finished. It is wonderful. It is fabulous. So when I started stitching on this, I started in this block here, the details. I did that little broom. And I started grinning when I did that broom. And then I did the little thing holding the bauble onto the hat. And I came over here and did the string going down to holding her pumpkin. And I started grinning. I came over here and I did the detail stitches for the balloons with the cat. And I kept grinning. I came and did the little details there on the cake. More grinning. I got to this section here in the middle. And you see that little spider? I've told you, I don't like spiders. I will leave spiders out of patterns because I don't like spiders. These spiders I was liking because they look like little skulls. And then I started doing the details on this guy and putting those little legs in. And I started giggling. Mark walked into the kitchen and he goes, "What are you laughing at?" I go, "This is the cutest spider ever." Yeah, he knows I don't like spiders. And for me to say that this is the cutest spider ever, yeah. The section with the bats. And up here, it says bats. You know, that's just in case you didn't know it was bats. The vines on the pumpkins were a pain. They're not straight, they're not even. They're as close as I can get. And I'm good with it. And then the last little section over here. There's another little spider down here. And each of the ghosts has a tail. Halloween in Quilt. I have loved this every step of the way. When I saw the pattern, I had to have it. I've never worked on anything like this that has all the little various motifs. I love it. I love the colors. The only thing that is different on mine from the pattern is that I used a different linen. Janine at Acorns and Threads recommended a 32 count copper kettle Belfast linen, and I think this is beautiful. I'm taking it with me to Acorns and Threads this week. Joylyn will be there, and I'm going to talk with her about how I want to have it finished. I want a wall hanging made. so happy that's done. I started it December 7th, and I finished it on February 23rd. The day between my granddaughter's birthdays. My youngest granddaughter, Miss Riley, turned 10 on February 22nd, and her sister, Miss Rowan, turned 11 on February 24th. For 2 days, they're the same age, and this is very important to Miss Riley because for 2 days, she was 10 and so was Rowan. 2 days later, Rowan was 11, but for 2 days, they were both 10. Okay, we all know that I am Halloween 365. I've said it many, many times. I'm Halloween 365. I do love Christmas. I'm just really, really picky when it comes to what I want to stitch for Christmas. And yeah, that's about all I can say is something really has to grab me and say, this is it. I showed this picture a couple of months ago. Michelle had come over before we went up to one of the meetings, the Pacific Northwest Stitchers meetings, and we had gone out thrifting, and I found this book, and I showed you the picture inside of this Santa. Hint for everybody who worries about glare on their videos. Angle your photos down just a little bit and it will reduce the glare immensely. If I do this up, I can catch it and I can make this picture just completely disappear. If I angle it down, the light goes past it and you can see the picture better. So, that's your public service announcement on reducing glare in your videos. It works with plastic bags, it works with glass, it works with photographs in books. Anyway, I love the way this looks. I love the way it looks on the blue. This is a blanket, but I didn't want to make a blanket. I showed you my mantle scarf, my Halloween mantle scarf, and in the front of this book was another picture, this one, of a mantle scarf. A little bit different style from what I made from Halloween, and I really, really like that. So I went and got some graph paper from my husband, and I drew up my pattern for a mantle scarf. And then, based off of what I have here, I was ready to go order some fabric. I like the blue. I'm going to do the blue. I went to Picture This Plus and I couldn't find anything that just said, yeah, this is what I want to work on. So then I went to Fabric by Stephanie. And we all know that when we are looking at fabric swatches on screen, you're working off of this little teeny tiny picture and it doesn't look anything like what you're actually going to get. It just doesn't. It's the nature of the beast. I wanted blue. I wanted sparkly. I found two of them. I'm going back and forth between these two pictures, trying to decide which one to get. And then I noticed the name of one of them, and I decided that's the one I have to go with. So I got a 32 count linen winter solstice, and I know that no matter how I hold this up, you're not going to see the beauty of this piece, but I'm going to try to show you anyway. This is it. There is modeling in there, there's dark spots, there's light spots, and there is opalescent through the whole thing. It is shimmery and shiny, and huge. So, this is also coming with me to Acorns and Threads on Thursday because I need to get advice from the ladies up there that run the shop. Make sure that I get it cut right so I can save the most of my fabric and have leftover bits. I have questions to ask them about scroll rods because the only scroll rod I have is my Edmunds floor stand. My Alphonse Mucha is on that, and I know that the bars on it are not wide enough to hold this piece of fabric. A couple months ago I was coming back home and I drive through Canby and there's a little thrift shop that I like to stop in there, and I found a scroll rod there and bought it for $3, and I'm going to take it too. Michelle, I'm telling you, when you come up, you better get up here early because I'm packing the whole house to take up to Acorns and Threads. So just warning you, just be prepared. I'm going to take that scroll rod with me and see if it's going to be big enough for this, and if it's not, then I'm going to talk with the ladies and see what I can order so that I have scroll rods to get this started so that I can work on my Christmas mantle scarf. The plans are coming together. Okay, so I've thanked the ladies, Jennifer and Lori. I've shown you Halloween in Quilt. I've shown you the Harry Potter letter and wax seal kit. I've shown you my fabric. Oh, yes. I said I started another piece. So Wednesday I finished the stitching on Halloween and Quilt, and I got out this piece that I had upstairs, and I've been good. I have been waiting on starting this. I saw this on Kathy Haberman's video, and I saw the way she had it finished, and I want it. Oh my gosh, I want it. So I went to the computer and I started looking for the pattern. I found the pattern, and every site I went to said out of stock. So I went to 123 Stitch and they said out of stock, and I said notify me when you get one in. About 2 days later I get the notification from them. I ran to the computer and ordered it. I didn't care whether it was coming by itself. I had to have this pattern because I want mine to be finished the way that Kathy Haberman's was, because it was beautiful. So I started this Wednesday night, and I started in the middle. I found the middle of the pattern, right? And in the middle of the pattern is one word, dead. So I stitched that, and then I posted a picture on Instagram and on Facebook saying if you want to see more, you have to watch this video. So after I posted those pictures, I went back and I started stitching up. And then I went to bed, and I got up Thursday morning and I looked at it, and yes, I started in the middle of the pattern, but I didn't start in the middle of the fabric. So everything I stitched the night before, I took out. Yeah. You know, these things happen. But I've done some stitching since then. I've gotten it done. This is Wicked Witch by Lottie Da. You know, ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch, old witch, the wicked witch. Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead. That's it. That's the one. So, it is very possible that I will have this stitched today or tomorrow, because I've got ding dong, the wicked witch is dead, and the border, and it's done. And then I'm going to get in touch with the lady who finished Kathy Haberman's, because I have that information, and I'm going to find out what it's going to cost to get it finished the same way. Because it was beautiful and I need it. I need it. Need it. Okay. So, Jennifer, Dark Side Stitcher. Come to the dark side. They have cross stitch. And Amy from Amy DeVille. They've started a group on Facebook called Bewitched or Bewitching Stitches. And they have decided that they're going to do a stitch along. This is the kind of stitch along I get into. They give you a topic, and then you can find whatever pattern you want that fits that topic and start it and work on it at your speed. There's no segments given to you or anything. If you're into doing the mystery sales, great, fantastic. I signed up for one and never did anything with it. That's me. That's me. When McKenna did her stitch along for Salem Remembered, I found a piece that I could make into a piece for that, and so I was really, really excited about it. And what Jennifer and Amy are doing is an Edgar Allan Poe. And this is my pattern. Quote the Raven, nevermore. So I ordered that, paid for it. When I went to the Acorn Gathering and we did our little Lizzie Kate piece, burping here, sorry. I had a pickle for lunch. It's coming back. Be glad it's not smell-o-vision. Anyway, when we did the little Lizzie Kate and we were using the threads up there, I fell in love with one of them. It's called Black Crow, the Gentle Art Black Crow. It's black with navy blue in it, and it is just so pretty. So this is the color I'm going to use for this. It says it takes 28 yards of floss, and I have no idea how many yards of floss are on this, so I'll have to ask Janine, and I may have to buy some more. I can do that. But then Jennifer was also talking about this other stitch along that she's going to be doing with Michelle. A Panna clockwork stitch along. And I've seen both of their patterns. One is doing the bird, one is doing something not a bird. Beetle? I think it's the beetle. Did I tell you that my kitchen is a little bit steampunky on that side, and we're going to make it more steampunky? So I like steampunk. I want to do some steampunk stuff up in the bedroom too. And so I went to the computer and I typed in Panna clockwork, and I found a dragonfly. I ordered it, but it's coming from Russia, so it's going to take a couple weeks to get here. So I may be late to the party, but I'll be in the party. Yeah. Yeah. So, I've got my thank yous out of the way. I have my projects out of the way. I've talked about the 2 stitch-alongs I want to be a part of. And now I have the story that I promised Jen that I would tell her. So it has absolutely nothing to do with cross-stitch. If you don't want to be here and listen to it because it's not cross-stitch related, this is when we part ways today. Thank you for visiting. And if you want to stay, it's a little bit of a ghost story. Maybe. Yeah. In the same video that Jen had done the shout out in, she was showing some fabric that she had dyed. And the last piece she showed, she had used red food coloring, I think she said, and she put splotches all over the fabric, and it really kind of looked like blood splatter. And then she put the food coloring in a spoon and she dribbled it and wrote red rum. We all know that's from The Shining. I've read Stephen King books. I think one of my favorite ones was a series of his short stories. There was 2 in there that I really, really liked. One was called The Mist, which just kind of bothered me for a really, really long time because it takes place in a grocery store and I work in a grocery store. So yeah, it was, you know, a bit freaky for me. The other one that was in there is Rock and Roll Oregon. Go read it. Just go read it. I have read The Shining. I cannot watch the movie. I have tried several times since that movie came out to sit down and watch it, and I don't know what it is about it. I cannot watch that movie. I got to go visit my sister a few years ago when she was living in Colorado. She had moved there because of her work, and she was living down in the southern part of the state. And of course, when I flew into Denver. And she came up and picked me up. And as a treat, we got to spend the first night of my visit at the Stanley Hotel. The Stanley Hotel. This was 2013. This was the year that I had both my knees replaced, and this was a week before I was scheduled to have my left knee, the first knee, surgery done. So my walking ability was, you know, pretty crap. And we got to the Stanley. We made it in. We registered. We went up to our room. We're on the 3rd floor, and Patty, because of my knees, told me to stay there and she'd go down and get our bags for us. I'm in the Stanley. I can't not explore. I don't care how much my knees hurt. I'm in the Stanley. Our room's right here. The stairwell was right here. I went up to the 4th floor because it's the 4th floor. From where the stairwell is at, there was a hallway that went down this way, then there was the hallway that went off to the left and then turned right. So I went left first. And I walked down the hallway and I turned right, and it's just a hallway. I come back and I notice there's the opening to the attic, and it's wide open and it's roped off, and I looked at it. I've done ghost hunting before. I was a member of a paranormal exploration group here in Oregon for a couple of years. We always had permission before we went in anywhere. And I thought about it. But the knees and the fact that I didn't have a flashlight and then I didn't have permission, I thought, okay, I'll be good. So I walked back and I went past the stairway and I went to go down the right-hand hallway, and as I turned, there was a man and a woman walking towards me. Real people. The woman had long, straight hair, and the hair on this side was straight out, like static. I mean, it was just straight out. You couldn't fake this. It was... Sorry, there was a glitch there. I looked at her and I said, do you realize that your hair is straight out from the side of your head? And the guy that she was with, he kind of stepped forward and turned around and looked back at her and then kind of pulled back and he goes, yeah, it is. And she goes, no, No, she didn't know. And she goes, but I have to go see. Well, apparently we were right in front of their room. She reaches down to open the door, and I see and I hear the spark of static electricity go from the door handle to her. She kind of pulls back. Her husband and I look at her, look at each other. Neither one of us felt any static in the air. It was just kind of weird and bizarre. Was that paranormal? No. Was it abnormal? Yes. So that was my Stanley experience. I did have a paranormal experience while I was in Colorado, only it took place at my sister's house. When she moved to Colorado, she contacted me not too long after she was there and said that she thought she might have a ghost in the house, because when she would be upstairs working in her office slash sitting room, she would hear things fall downstairs. And when she'd go downstairs and check, nothing ever fell down. Okay. I'm there, I'm visiting for the week. Like I said, her office sitting room was at the front of the house upstairs, and she has 2 dogs. And when these things would happen with her, her dogs would be upstairs with her. So there was nobody downstairs that could make them happen. Halfway through our visit, she went to go pick up my niece, Rachel, her daughter, because she was joining us on the visit. And she asked me to stay home and stay with the dogs, basically, so that they didn't get all freaked out because Mom is gone again. I am sitting there in her sitting room and I am reading, and all of a sudden I see somebody walking down the hallway, and I think, well, that was fast. Patty must have forgot something. And I turn and look down the hallway and there's nobody there. Okay. I turn around, I go back to reading. There's a little bit of a storm starting outside, a little bit of rain, a little bit of lightning, nothing major like I've heard you can have in Colorado. And I'm sitting there reading for a while. One of the dogs is laying in the chair behind me, the other dog is laying on the floor in front of me, and we're just doing our thing there. And again, I see someone walking down the hallway towards me. This time, I look outside first to see if my sister's car is there. And it isn't. The dogs aren't barking, but there's somebody in the hallway. Yet when I turned and looked, no one was there. So yeah, I had a paranormal experience at my sister's house in Colorado. Not at the Stanley. But yes, I do believe in the paranormal. I know that there is a lot of controversy about it, and whether you believe or don't believe, that is entirely up to you. I'm not going to try to convince anybody one way or the other. I believe the personal experiences that I've had, and I have had several. So anyway, that is my ghost story, my Stanley Hotel story, and my cross-stitching story for today. Anyway, I wish you all the very best. I want to thank you again for liking, subscribing, for visiting. Live long and stitch on, my friends. Bye-bye.